And welcome back. And we're now at part 3 of this week's new comics, bitches! So, let's continue, shall we? Amazing Spider-Man number 671. Spider Island, this is the penultimate issue of Spider Island. I did kind of complain at the beginning that it didn't really seem like there was a lot of stakes. It didn't really seem like this was a big threat. That has changed with these last couple of issues. Obviously, Jameson turning into big spider monster, and potentially killing Alistair Smythe, and certainly not without reason, but ultimately under the Queen's control to this. But who is the Queen? I mean, either that's a mystery that is something that has yet to be solved, or it's something that I don't know this character, I don't know where they come from, I don't know what they're doing, other than being the Queen, of Spider Island, and having this kind of, psychic tether with all of the spiders that are out there. I hate the cover. If I had my physical copy with me, I would gladly show it. But I hate the cover. I think it's really, in a time where, there's a lot of debate over, hypersexualization of characters. Mary Jane Watson is a smart and strong enough character to not have to have that sexualization. And, this is like the uber sexy Mary Jane cover, other than, what we've seen in the past, J. Scott Campbell doing some of his, I don't know if, and many of you saw the kind of internet thing that was going around where the one shot of, her drinking the coffee in her, skimpy, tight little outfit, and people were trying to replicate that pose, and, it was funny, because the pose was so ridiculous. Anyway, getting away from that, nice to see Morbius. Didn't think he'd be coming into this, but nice to see him. Nice to see anti-venoms being put to good use, as far as the character is concerned. I love the idea that Horizon and Reed, well, basically Horizon in and of itself, they work together to fix Spidey's Spidey sense, to give it back to him. But of course this leads to more badness, because in fixing that, of course, it fucks it up for, it potentially fucks it up for everybody else, because the Queen has gotten, stronger as a result of this. Kane, always been a character, the clones, obviously, whatever. But, I like it when Kane gets pulled out of, anti-venoms, like the soup that they made from his whatever that he's donated, the symbiote. And, he is completely normalized. And, of course, looks exactly like Peter Parker, but with long hair. So how they're going to explain that one, I don't know. Especially since they're in Horizon Labs when this is going down. Madam Web, obviously, she's been kind of like Switzerland in this. She doesn't want to play an active part in it, but then, of course, she does. And this is what, of course, leads to, the fact that she kind of goes off her own mission to try and fix things, and she just ends up potentially making things worse, but also potentially better. So, to figure out what's going to go on from here, I'm pretty excited, but, just kind of cut down on the, making Mary Jane, like I said, she's a smart and strong enough character. I don't even think, I actually kind of preferred her without the spider powers. So, bad on the outside, good on the inside. So, again, Stan Slott just killing it. Humberto Ramos, he's a great artist, love him, but I just think that this cover just went a little too far. So, again, with just all the debate that's going on. Moving along. Here is my disappointment of the week, and that is X-Men Regenesis. So this is Kieran Gillen and Billy Tan doing this, and basically they're splitting up. It's the issue of the splitting up of the teams, and okay, ideology here, ideology there. It's this that I had to pay $3.99 for this feels like kind of an insult, because this is essentially, it's almost a free comic. It's something that they should have given away to, because it's a one shot. And it just feels like something that really shouldn't have been like, okay, well, we have to lay out, okay, well, this person's going to be on Wolverine's team back at the back at the mansion. This person's going to be on Cyclops' team back in Utopia, and their ideologies and how they're and how it's splitting, and who's going where and what's doing what and who's doing this and who's doing that. It feels. It felt like it was perhaps a necessary story to tell, but I don't think that, I just think that this should have been a free giveaway. And whoa, if this blue chick is indeed supposed to be Mystique, we do have a pretty solid naked ass shot of of Mystique, and I was pretty surprised by that, quite frankly, because it was like, okay, there's no like thong or anything like that. It's her naked blue ass, and it's naked. I know I'm making kind of a big deal about this, but I mean it's naked. It's a naked ass. That's what it is. But yeah, I mean, just these characters, kind of splitting apart, and this kind of weird, like almost like Survivor-esque vibe that's going on in this comic, as far as to what tribe is getting who. That I didn't really get or care about or whatever. So that was just, it was more extraneous story, it was just extraneous art to me. So didn't really care. Ultimately, I think that this is something that could have been easily explained within the first couple of issues of either Wolverine and the X-Men or Uncanny X-Men. And by the way, Wolverine and the X-Men is not going in my pull box, but Uncanny X-Men is, because you know why? Because I'm Team Cyclops, bitch. Anyway, okay, FF number 10. Oh wow, I loved this issue. This was a lot of fun, really smart, really good, really interesting stuff at work here. As far as the door that's kind of the Inhumans door, I forget what they call it here, and Eldrak, that basically tells you you go through the door and it takes you where you need to be, not where you want to go, but where you need to be. Takes Reed back home to Sue. It takes Nathaniel back to the only one of the Reeds who wasn't captured or killed in this issue, because there's some pretty good fighting shit going on in this issue too. And it brings Spidey back to Avengers Mansion. It brings him back to Ben Grimm, because this is the one person that they need. They need Ben there. They need Ben confident, not second-guessing himself, not constantly in a state of, kind of like doubting himself all the time because, he let Johnny die. Because that just wasn't the case. Certainly didn't let anything happen. Again, they're kind of switching off here. Here's, one part, and, like one issue we have, we had Steve Epting in number 9, which was really great, and then we had, and we have Barry Kitson in this. I love Barry Kitson, don't get me wrong, but I love Steve Epting more. So just Hickman really puts it away, and also involving Ronan the Accuser. Everything's starting to tie together from these first 10 issues. It's really coming together here, and we're going to see something some pretty massive shit come come down pretty soon. So very excited to see where this is going. Speaking of excited to see where it's going, Ultimate X-Men #2. So here we have Nick Spencer, who again, he's becoming, it's like these people just, it's like they literally appear out of nowhere and they kill everything that they work on. It's just, it's just like amazing stuff. And, and Nick Spencer is definitely one of those guys, along with Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire, Joshua Fialkoff, Jonathan Hickman. I didn't really know about, but that's just me. I know he's been around for longer than some of these guys. But anyway, these are all guys that are, it's like they're the new breed. They're the new blood that's injecting life back into comics and making me love them continuously, as opposed to, people who kind of come and go and then come back and go, Anyway, so Ultimate Comics X-Men, we've got Reverend Stryker, we've got the Ultimate Reverend Stryker, who looks a bit kind of like a, sort of a knockoff of Iron Man. Kitty Pryde has become the Shroud, because she doesn't basically want to show her face. They're basically trying to save Rogue from a bunch of, Sentinels, Nimrod Sentinels, is what it looks like as far as the design is. I don't know who's doing some of the voiceover, if you want to call it that, but it is, to see, Stryker and his zealotry crusading throughout this book, watching Johnny trying to impress Rogue. There's fun stuff. There's exciting stuff, really exciting stuff going on in this issue, and of course some horrifically interesting stuff and just some really horrifying stuff. Particularly, Stryker's dialogue that he has with this Elise Cartwright. And this also, bearing in mind, of course, this takes place in the Ultimate universe, and that, yes, 3 million people lost their lives when Magneto flooded New York City. Some people have got a pretty good right to be pissed off. So, this, Reverend Stryker is one of them, unlike his father, who was, Colonel Stryker, from the original Ultimate X-Men story. But this is more leaning towards God Loves, Man Kills, that storyline from the 80s, or that graphic novel, whatever it was. I don't know if it was a graphic novel or if it was actually a multi-issue arc that just was collected. Anyway, fascinating reading. Paco Medina turning in some great artwork. I love it when art and writing comes together really well, and this is one of those examples. So let's do one more really briefly here, and that is Batwoman #2. Again, J.H. Williams III and W. Hayden Blackman co-writing, but of course, J.H. doing the art, knocking art out of the park. It's amazing what he does with his page structure, the panels, the, ultimately, the appearance of all these side characters, the fact that they're not making, that it is an issue that, Kate Kane is a lesbian, but she's never seen as an object of pure, sexual desire or anything like that. She is very beautiful, but she's not, like I was talking about before with Mary Jane, she's not that character. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need to be sexy to be cool. And that's why I love that one. So there's another great issue of Batwoman. So we'll be right back with our books of the week. So stay tuned.